Hello friends, welcome. Friends, I was working on the banking sector and I was trying to understand how the banks are giving loan and who is taking what loan and what they are doing with that loan, what kind of activities that they are performing. This gives us a very good understanding of the macroeconomic dimensions of the country and in what way the country is changing from the point of view of focus of various economic dimensions. Because if credit is granted to a particular sector, that sector will definitely grow and become prosperous. And if there are unsecured credit like personal loans, etc., that shows that how critical the banking sector is and what kind of risk that the banking sector is taking from the point of view of credit that they are giving. So to understand that, I am working on various databases which is there in the RBI's website, and I'm going to do a detailed video later to explain what my findings are. But this video is not about that. This video is the complexity that I have encountered while dealing with this database. Now I'm going to show you what I mean. So when I go to this tab which the RBI has, where it captures or anchors all the data information. So I'll just close some of the tabs so as to make sure that my computer does not go slow. So I go here and I open this tab by clicking this tab. So once I open this tab, you will find that it will take a little bit of while to come, and then there is a publication tab, and when you go in the publication tab, you will see basic statistical return BSR1 quarterly outstanding credit of scheduled commercial banks. So when you click here, you will find that there are three different options here. So you click on a quarterly BSR1 outstanding credit of scheduled commercial bank, and then there are summary tables, then there is a section 2 and there is a section 3. So let's click on section 3, occupation wise classification of credit. And here I want to focus on one of the tabs, which is organization wise classification of outstanding credit of scheduled commercial banks according to occupation. So I just went and opened this up. So you can see that this is how this sheet looks. So I've downloaded it. Let's go to the downloaded sheet. That will be much easier. So I downloaded it. So you have got a date column here. Then you have got an organization occupational column here. Then you have got rows which are extending in this manner, and each row has got a main category and a subcategory. Like a public sector is the main category, then you have got A, B, C, D subcategories, then E, then F. Then there is a main category which does not have any subcategory. Then there is a main category which will have two subcategories. Then there is another main category which has got some subcategories, and then those subcategories are further drilled down to more subcategories. Like that goes on. And then there is one more, dimension of this data. These main categories and subcategories are further broken down into number of accounts, credit limits, and outstanding. And then you have got this tab in C, which is further breaking it down into different dimensions, which are shown here. And these keeps repeating as the date goes, decreases as you scroll down. Okay, so look at this whole Excel sheet. It is so cumbersome. Can you make any sense out of this? What I want is to get a overview of what is going on. For that, I need to create a dashboard, and the dashboard should look something like this. I'm going to show you what I mean. So this is the dashboard, and in this dashboard, what I want is that if I change so if you look at this is almost similar to what I showed you here, but if I change the date dimension, the values in these cells will increase or decrease. So in that way, I can just run this. I can do a simulation here, right? I can just simply press this. Let me just show you how it looks. So when the date changes, these values will change progressively, and it will give me a flavor as to what is going on as far as the various dimensions of this database is concerned. So that will give us a lot of insight. You can look into the data very clearly. But in order to do that, you have to convert this data in this form. Now let me show you what I basically mean. So this data has to look like this. You have got a date column, then you have got the occupation column, then you have got a value column, then you have main category, and then value type and the sector type. But how do you do that? Such complex data, how do you convert this in simple form, and that too automatically? Because every time RBI will update this sheet, you can't write a code again to kind of do this work. So let me tell you how I have done it, and it is a little complex, but for those who are expert programmer, I'm not talking to those people, I'm talking to people like me who have no understanding of programming but wants to do all this hardcore economic activity to get deep insight. Okay, so let's understand how I have done this. So I have already written the code, and it's a very simple code, not a very big code, but I will show you point by point how you can achieve this objective. So first let me copy and paste in a different tab, and then these are all libraries, and then I have changed my directory where my file is there, where I want the file to get stored. So I just simply run this cell. So it doesn't do anything except it changes the directory. So then what I do is I'll read the main file, and I show you how the main file looks. So I'll just copy it and I will read the main file here. Okay, and I'll read it, and I'll just show you how it looks. So you can see the complexity here, right? So it's a very complex file, and you will not be able to make any sense out of it. Now, the next part of the work is, anytime when you are processing data, you have to also make sure that you delete all empty rows and columns. For that, I invariably follow this process. What I do, I just simply run drop NA, axis is equal to 1, how is equal to all. So when I do this, I'll run this. So what it does is, it will remove all empty columns. So now the data becomes a little cleaner. Okay. Then what I have to do is that I have to identify or capture the headers automatically. That has to happen automatically. It cannot happen, you can't do it manually, because every time the sheet will change, you can't rewrite the code, because you have to manage so many data. It can't happen that every time, for one data you spend full half a day or at least 1 hour. It will not be of any utility. It is better to then go to Bloomberg and get the data from there directly. Okay. So you have to do it automatically. So how do you do it? You check for reporting period. Then you will be able to identify this row, because this is the baseline row where the column header starts. So I'll show you how I am doing this. I am basically running this list comprehension, and I'll explain what this list comprehension does. So when I run this, what it is doing is, it is running an enumerated function, and you know how enumerated works. It basically does, it basically numbers as you iterate through each and every item of the column. It will number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you know which. So as soon as a condition is fulfilled, automatically that value will become the IDX, right? So what I am doing is, I am running this on column number 1. I could have used unnamed one, but unnamed one is not the right way of doing it. It is better to basically identify column 1 as a generic way. So generic way is what? df dot column 0. That will give you the column 1. And in that, I am checking for reporting. str contains reporting, and if this is true, then the enumerate function is going to basically capture this I. So when I run this, you will find that when I print IDX, so you'll find that this IDX is 4, right? Because here, if I go here and I show you, I'll run df again. So you'll find that it automatically captures 4. See 4 here, it will capture 4. I'll just simply delete this cell others to remove this garbage. So once having done that, now you have to do some automatic way of capturing the header. So let's do that. So header number 1 is the first, that is column number 4, right? Row number 4. So it will be simply captured by running this formula. What is this? df.loc, the row number, which is 4, and then all columns. And then what I am doing is, I am filling it up so as to ensure that any null is there, it automatically gets filled, right? So I run it, and then the header looks like something like this. You see, Header looks something like this. You see, this is the way the header is looking. And then I will also do header 2. Header 2 is going to be 1 plus idx1, right? So here I just copy it and I do the same thing as I have done for header 1, and then I create header 2. So header 2 will also look something like this. You see, this is header 2, right? So both the headers have been captured. Now I have to basically do some what? I have to remove gaps and all kind of blank spaces from header number 1, and I'm cleaning it up. Why I'm cleaning it up? If you look at header number 1, let me just show you header number 1. So there are certain things. You see these gaps? These gaps I don't want, because when I will process this may create some problem. So what I'm doing is running a list comprehension, and I'm joining and I'm stripping and joining. So here if I show you here, let me just do, and then what I'm doing is then now you'll see if I run this, see it is become cleaner now. See, the header 1 has become cleaner now, more cleaner than what it was earlier, right? So after having done that, now I have to combine both these header into one, and this is again a list comprehension, and I just show you how it works. So what I'm doing, I'm using a zip function, I'm using header 2, header 1, and then I'm just simply adding this with a separator star. Why I'm using separator? You will understand, because later I have to just remove this and split this two headers into two separate columns, right? So I'll run this and you look and you'll see how the header will look. The header will look something like this, you see, and very, very complex, and it will look very odd in the beginning, but later you will see that this will finally look like this. Once this will be so clean, you'll see that it is very easy. So after having done that, after having created header, then what I need to do? Then I have to because when I'm doing header, you have to also understand that in this header, when I just show you the header, there is one problem that I have to deal with. What is the problem? This first two first two items, because reporting period and organization period, I just want to remove them because I don't want to deal with them. I have to manually rename them, because the reporting period and organization, it is an odd man out, and I don't want to deal with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just define the columns of the data frame, which will basically start from header 2 and beyond, right? Header 2 to beyond, and then I'll add to this list date and occupation, and that I will name as the columns of this data frame, right? So I'm just going to run this cell, and you'll see how the data frame now will looking. So you have got date, occupation, and all the headers that I created by doing the above calculation, right? So this is how the data frame is now going to look. After having done that, now what I have to do? I have to just clean up the rows which are above the header and bottom rows which are below, which I don't want. Like you see here, there's a notes table and nan. These are the two rows I don't want, and the rows which are above the header. And this we can very easily accomplish by using this function. Because why? Because I'm just stripping the header, whatever is above the header, which we just copied, and below this data frame, these two rows, and then I'm just resetting the index and dropping, and dropping is equal to true, so that the index is not getting copied and becoming part of the data frame. So when I run this, you see it becomes like this. Now it looks a little cleaner than what it was earlier. After having done that, the next step would be to set the date and occupation and index, because I don't want to deal with date and occupation. I will keep them at index. I'll separate them out, right? So after having done the date and occupation and index, now it becomes part of the index, and the data frame becomes outside, right? All the values on the data frame. So this is now no longer require processing. So I'll keep it like this, and I'll start processing this. Okay. So then what I need to do is that I need to create this column. If I just run this column, df.columns, you will see that the columns will not look good, right? And it will become difficult to process this column, because there are so many gaps in this column. I want to make this column cleaner. So all these gaps which I want to remove, and which will become my life easy as I go and process it further. So what I will do, I will simply use a list comprehension like this, and I will change the columns and remove all the gaps from here. So when I run this cell, you'll see. So what I'm doing, I'm simply stripping all the gaps, right? And then joining, and then I'm doing it for df.columns, right? And I'm just saving it to df columns. And now if I run df.columns, you'll find that the columns will look much cleaner. Sorry. So you'll see that these are all the gaps have been removed, right? Now it becomes easy for me to process it. So once having done that, now becomes the trickier part. So what I'm trying to do? Now I have to capture the main category from this mess. Look at this. This has all the information here. So from there, I want to capture the main category. So what are the main category? Let's look at the main category. The main category is this. One, whatever has got 1, and it starts with this, right? So 1 dot and then caps and like this, right? And then there will be some other, for example, if you see 4.1, this is also main category, right? Individuals, 4 dot. So all these which starts with a decimal, and then it has a dot, and then we have text. So for that, what I have to do, I have to write a regular expression. This is a regular expression pattern. Now, regular expression is pretty tricky to write. So I would suggest that you, when you're writing regular expression, either you practice it on your own, or you let ChatGPT write it for you. And if you ask, give him a pattern. First of all, you should understand what regular expression is, because sometimes just telling ChatGPT, it won't do the job. But if it does a job, then you need to fine tune it, because I have to fine tune it to serve my purpose. For that, you need to understand how the regular expression works. So understand regular expression, because it will not be possible for me to explain this in the video. So once having identified the regular expression, the pattern, then what I have to do, I have to extract all the pattern, the main category pattern. So I am going to run this and here, and then you will find that the main categories are going to get extracted from df.columns. So the df.column, these are the main category. And now look a little weird here, because all sets of these columns, all the groups have been extracted out, and I want the first only. For that, I have to do what? I have to basically create this main cat like this. So it will extract the first group. So what I'm doing, I'm again running a miscomprehension. So this main cat, I'll be doing match in main cat for if this is going to be, if it matches, the whole thing matches, then, because if you look at this, there are a lot of nulls here, right? So I have to replace this with np-nan and only extract this value. So that only is possible if you run this expression. So this expression is saying that if match, else np-nan, for match in. So you iterate with for every data, and then you catch one of this data, and then you compare, and if you find that if it works, then you store it here, or you assign it to as np-nan. You see how it is going to work. So I'm just going to run it for you, and I'm going to remove this mcat so that you can see how it is running. So you see, all the other things got removed, and you have these numbers, and the rest of the things have been assigned null values. Okay, so here this will become like this. So I'll just assign this here, and then we have got this like this, right? After having done that, now what I have to do, I have to fill all this, because now I want the main categories to get filled across all the columns, right? Because every so this is like this. If you look at this sheet again, let me just show you this sheet. This is public sector. So public sector for these 3 dimensions, and then these are all nulls. So if I populate it, public sector here, then I can attach it to the columns, and then later when I do processing, it will create another column which I want like this, which I showed you here, right? You will understand when I'm doing it. See, this main category. So I have to populate all of them, because I want the nulls to get populated with public sector, and wherever is above it, right? So that main category column will get created. So for that, what I have to do is I have to basically create another list comprehension. So no, I have to convert this into a data frame, and I do fill, and then I have to convert that into a list. So I am doing it. If I run this, you will see how it is going to run. So if I run this and then I copy and paste, you see, now everything has got copied and we have got a very clean list, which I'm going to use later. Now after having done that, now I have to create another data which is inverse of this. Why I need inverse? Because inverse is going to do what? Whatever is there is going to invert it now. Means the subcategories are going to get assigned with, see, let me explain, this is important to explain. See, what happens is that the inverse data is important because when I'm going to do totaling, I don't want the public sector and the main category is part of the totaling, because it will double total it then. So I will extract these separately, but when I am going to create this data, every subcategory should have a main category assigned. Otherwise, what will happen? It will be very difficult to process. So I will remove this piece, this public sector part, which is the main category, because when you are totaling it, if I total all the rows, then the main categories are also going to get totaled. So the final total of this row is not going to be correct, because when you are totaling it, let's say public sector, let's say if I want to total it, let me show you what I mean. So amount outstanding, here I am totaling, then again I am totaling amount outstanding, amount outstanding, amount outstanding. So all these subcategories I am going to total, and this should add up to this number. You see, 324,288, and actually 324,288. So if you sum across all the columns, then this will become double, triple, etc., because every time this is getting repeating. So I don't want to do that. So therefore I have to invert the data, and it will make sense. As you go through it, you will understand what I'm talking about. So let me inverse it. And for that, I have created a separate regular expression, not regular expression, list comprehension, and you will understand why these are so important. And that's why I'm taking the pain and doing this video, because it is not as simple as it looks. It is a little complicated. So what I'm doing is I'm checking for 2, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why I'm checking for 2, 5, 6, 7, 8? Because the reason I'm checking for 2, 5 and 6, 7, 8, let me show you my Excel sheet, you will understand, because these main categories do not have subcategory. For example, you see 2 does not have subcategory, 3 does not have subcategory, right? 4 does not have subcategory, right? And then we have got, sorry, let me just take it this. Then you have got, where is it? 5, you see, 5 does not have subcategory, 6 does not have subcategory. So I want this to be extracted out. So for that, what I'm doing is, if I go here and I run this, you will see what it is going to look like. And I just paste this. And when I run this, you see that the whole thing has got inverted. So because I had done a filling of this, right? So if I do main cat, if I just type here main cat, so whatever is here, you see, this is exactly this, except for that these things have been replaced by null, and these are basically remaining like this. You see how it looks? These have been replaced by null and this remains like this. See? And you will understand why I need this. So once having done that, what I'm doing is I am now creating a column, final column, which is creating another separator, and then this inverse thing which I created, I'm not going to combine with df.columns, and I'll add it, and so that it becomes a combined column, and you will see how it's going to look like, and it will make a lot of sense as you go through this presentation. So let me just clear all output cell, and I just do this, and you see now how the data frame looks like. You see this? Here we have got nan. Wherever there is a main category, it will be nan, because as you see here, there will be 3, 1, 2, 3, and then there will be no nan here, because these are subcategories, right? You see, there is no nan here, but there will be a main category attached to it, exactly like this. You see, This I want to remove, the first thing which I want to remove, right? Because this is an extra. This is almost, if I am able to map this here, I don't need these 3 columns. So I want to remove this. This is exactly what I'm doing here, you see. So I have got marked it with nan, and then later there are no nan here because these are subcategories, okay. Now let's go further on this. Then I'm doing what? Resetting the column, because once the index, the work of index has been done, so I want to reset it because now I have to meld the function. So what I'm doing is I'll reset it, and then the final data frame will also have the date and occupation and all the columns. Once having done that, now let me just meld the data, because almost like most of the work is over. Now I'm going to meld the data and convert the columns into rows. So when I run this, you will find the data has now become like this. Now it is very simple to process. Now I have to keep processing this metric column, right? Once I process this metric column, this is going to finally look like this. So how do I do it? Let's look at this step. Look at the step. Let's go through the step. So here I was. Then I'm going to basically take out the main category. So I'm going to do a splitting on dollar. Why I'm doing splitting on dollar? Because if I do a splitting on dollar, you'll see that the main category will get extracted out, right? That's why I have already tagged all these columns with these separators. So I just press and I run this. Then you see the data frame, how it looks. You see, the main category has been separated out. Now, why it is NaN? Because I don't want it. I'll remove this, right? Because as I told you, that will get double counted, okay? So, this will get removed later. So, once having extracted main category, now what I'm doing, I'm just converting the value field here, which is looking like this. Where is value field? This is the way the value field, there are so many decimals. Just why I want to process it and make it to 2 decimal places only. So I run this here, and you will find that the value field will now be on 2 decimal places, right? So it's now 2 decimal places. Once having done that, now I have to basically take out the value type, right? What is value type? Value type is, let me show you what is value type in this Excel sheet. These are number of accounts, credit limit, and outstanding, because it all become part of the columns. So I have to extract this out. So what I do, I just run this here. I go here and I run this, Control V, and what I'm doing is splitting on star. If I split on star, you'll see the number of accounts, etc. all will get extracted, and I'm choosing 0. So I run this, and then what will happen is this will get extracted out. Now you see the value type has got extracted out. So now you have got another column of value type. So what I have left to do now? I have left to know sector type. Now sector type had to be split 2 times. And why it is 2 times, you will see. So let me just do once. So let me just split sector type. So when I split sector type and I run this DF, so you'll find that there are, see sector type, there is these nans which has to be extracted out. So I want these to be, because there are double things which have been shown up. So I have to split again to get the sector type. So I run the sector type again. So let me just run this again, Control C, and then I do Control V here, and then I run it, split again, and then I will see it will be much cleaner now. You see, sector type has become much cleaner. Okay. After having done that, now what I will do, I will drop the metric column. I don't need metric column because everything has been extracted out from the metric column. This is useless. So I drop it. So after having dropped metric column, the data frame looks like this. You see. Now having done that, now I have to do what? I have to now, once having done that, I have to drop, I have to reset index and drop is equal to 2. Sorry, one thing I have, one thing I have missed out here. So I have to basically remove the nans. So one step actually I have forgotten, right? Because as I told you, I have to remove the nans and make the database without the nans. So for that, I have to run this, because what I'm doing, I'm just checking for nan and I'm filtering on opposite, and you will see that, let me just take this out so that you understand what is going on. You see, the database is now cleaner, all the nans have been removed. Now this database is without any nulls, okay? So all the extra thing has been removed, so it becomes easy to process now. So this is the final database. And then what I do is I reset the column. I have already dropped the metric column. I reset the column here, and I drop 2 so that these columns, these columns are start from 1 to it goes on till the end. So when I reset and I press this DF, so you see this is the data frame that you're looking at, and then we finally save this data frame in this file, right? So friends, you probably understood. So if I show you the data frame in my directory, just let me just pull this so that you know how it looks. The CSV file looks. So I will just pull it across. It's a very small file. It's a 4.5 MB file. So you will see that how the CSV file looks. This is how the CSV file looks. And so you have a very cleaner, a date column, then you have an occupational column, then you have a value column, then you have a main category column, then you have a value type column, and then you have a sector type column, right? And then it goes on. So it's so easy now to process, and everything is automatic. Now every time the sheet changes, you run this code, you don't have to do anything. But extracting this main category from a complex database like this, complex sheet like this, where is the sheet? Where is my sheet? It's a hell of a lot of a task. It is not an easy thing to do. You have to understand this. You cannot tell ChatGPT, please extract the data from me. It will not do it. So you have to understand what you need to do. These complex, see, this is not the right way of handling data. I think I have looked at the US Fed and other agencies which handle data. You can't provide these Excel sheets like this for people to work on. It is not possible to work on this Excel sheet unless you process this data in this form. This doesn't serve any purpose. I do not know why RBI is giving this data in this particular form. But anyway, so I think you might have found this video useful. If you have found this video useful, let me know. And I will keep on doing similar video. As I learn through this process, I will just keep sharing this, right? Because these are extremely important things. Without this skill, you will not be able to make anything. This is absolutely useless. This sheet is absolutely useless. You can't make any head and tail out of this data. Okay? Thank you very much for your time. I'll come back to you with a video next time on a new topic. Thank you very much.